Alright, man, this vid has been in the works for a while now. There was a lot of albums on this list, and I don't really have any notes, man. These are all the albums I'm doing. Some of the ones I've covered in the past, like Rodeo and the Cardi albums, I've talked about those in the past. I'm not really gonna go in on them that much because I mean, like I already have videos on them. I have other albums on here that I want to talk about, opposed to just talking about those again, you know. So I will be going in order because like I thought that'd be interesting. Yeah, let's just get into it, man. Starting us off with Taboo. I included this because I guess it kind of qualifies as a trap album. It's an S tier. It's a 10. I really love this album. If you want me to kind of talk more about Denzel Curry, you could go watch my Denzel Curry video. My opinions have kind of changed since then. And also the video quality sucks. Actually, don't watch that video. Don't watch it. I really love this album though. It's very good. As I said, it's a 10. And then Rodeo is also a 10. It's also going in S tier. It could go above Taboo. They kind of go back and forth. I'll put it above Taboo. It's a psychedelic masterpiece. I really love this album. Yeah, it's just an amazing album. It's easily Travis's best. I wish he did more of this sound again. I really love the chunky synths, you know? It's very good, as I said, 10. And then Astroworld is going in A. This one took a while to click with me. I didn't like it as much to begin with, but over a few listens, it's really grown on me. My problem is that it just doesn't tend to stick in my head that much. It's a very, it's kind of sleepy at times, especially near the back half. But even then, it's still a really great album. It's a light 9 for me. Okay, this is where we're gonna get a little weird. So every Cardi album is an S tier. Like, you can watch my Cardi video, I talk about them, but every Cardi album has grown on me since that video. The rankings would probably change quite a bit. I'd talk about his songs, too. I did a whole tier list for the songs. That'd probably change, too. But you're free to go watch that. I really love all three of these albums. I can't wait for his new project. And they're both strong 9s. All three of them are strong 9s for me. Okay, this is where we're getting into the new stuff. This is all the new music that I've listened to now. And we're starting off with Chief Keef's Finally Rich. This one's going straight into S tier, I'd probably say. Under Lit. This album is amazing. It's just complete banger after banger after banger. I love Chief Keef's just like energy on here. I really, like, seriously, his energy is unmatched. You got a 10 out of 10 song on here with I Don't Like. That song's one of the best trap songs I've ever heard. You got Love Sosa, Hate Being Sober. It's called Hate Being Sober, right? I'm pretty sure. Or is it like... Yeah, I think so. Or is it Love Being Sober? I don't know. It's the song with Sober in the title. It's just consistent hit after hit after hit. Some of the hooks on here get a little repetitive, but like, what do you expect, man? It's an amazing album. It's a strong 9 for me. I really enjoyed this one. And then this one, I'll put it high B tier, maybe low A. It's Monster by Future. This is my first Future project, obviously. And I really like it. I really like this album. It's really fun. Not even fun. It's just really, like, good. It's just, like, I have nothing else to say. It's just really, really good. Certain songs on here sound a little repetitive at first, and then they just kind of start to sink in after, like, a minute and a half, and you're just like, okay, you know? You just kind of get engulfed into the beats and the energy that Future has. It's a pretty personal album for Future. I just think it's a pretty, like, consistently great album. I love the closer, too. That closer's amazing. It is a strong 8 for me. Maybe a light 9 if I throw it in A. We'll see, though. Then we got Without Warning by 21 Savage, Offset, and Metro. This one's going in C tier. I'm not the biggest fan of Metro Boomin as a producer. I think he's just consistently good. He doesn't have any, like, crazy produced tracks to me. I forgot to put an album on here. I'll be right back. Alright, so I forgot to put What a Time to Be Alive on here. That makes this whole album count 32. But, yeah, let's keep talking about Without Warning. I like 21 Savage. I like Offset on here. They're both pretty good. Metro's production is just a little, like, hazy for me. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I just thought it was good production. It's not anything crazy, though. Yeah, it was a good album. It was a good album. It's a strong 7 for me. Pretty consistent. I like the vibes. But overall, it just felt like it was missing something. It's a strong 7 for me. It's pretty good. And then under that, I'd probably throw Savage Mode. This one's also kind of like the same thing. It has a lot of big bangers at the beginning, though. I just think it falls off a little in that back end. It just kind of gets to that more hazy, more kind of stagnant Metro production. I still really enjoyed it though. It's a pretty good album. I'll give it another, I think it's like a decent to strong 7 for me. It's just a pretty good album. There's really no like bad, there were some songs in here where I'm like, eh. But it was, as I said, just a pretty good album. Then staying in C tier, we're going on a whole C tier streak right here. It's Barter 6. It's going under Savage Mode 2. This album kind of feels a little incomplete at times. I kind of throw it on and I'm not really like enjoying it, but I'm not really hating it, you know? I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is fine. It'll probably grow on me on re-listen. I will get to that later though. We'll talk about that at the end, you know? But yeah, Barter 6 is just, it's a good album. There's some pretty good songs throughout this album, but there's really no like, ooh, this is a good song. Ooh, this is a good song back to back, you know? It was just good, you know? It's a little overrated. Breaking in to say it is just a light to decent 7 for me. Yeah, back to the video. Then we got Jeffrey. This one's going under, this could go under or above Finally Rich, honestly. I'll put it above. I really like this album. I used to have it in A tier, and then I re-listened to it the other day, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that, I just love Thugger's performance on here. I love his ad-libs. I love his energy. I love his hooks. I love how he just, like, screeches his voice on, like, a Riri. Oh, it's so good. Just a lot of amazing songs over here. You got Pick Up the Phone, Kanye West, Wyclef Jean. Like, it's just so good, man. So consistent. As I said, I love Thugger's, like, vocal performances on here. It's just an amazing album, and I think it's really good. Strong 9 for me. I really enjoyed this one. Honestly, though, this one can go in D tier. It's Heroes and Villains by Metro. This one's pretty inconsistent. It basically has, like, my least favorite qualities to a Metro album all put into one. It's just, like, I'm not the biggest fan. Like, here's the thing. I like it when Metro works with people that have diverse voices. So, like, when he works with A$AP Rocky on here, it's the best song on the album. When he works with Future, it's one of the best songs on the album, you know? When he works with 21 Savage, it's one of the best songs. When he works with Thugger, it's one of the best songs. But, like, when he's working with, like, Gunna and, like, I don't know, literally anyone else, I just kind of, like, you know? It feels a little hazy. I'm not really paying attention. It's pretty boring sometimes. Some of the production isn't great. And overall, it was just kind of like, oh, there's some good songs. And then it's just like a boring song. And then it's over. Then a boring song. And it's over. And then, like, I don't know, man. It's just whatever. Like, there was some good songs here spread out. But I think if you cut all, like, this boring stuff and then you just made it like maybe a short album, could have been pretty good. Overall, though, it's just kind of boring for the most part with some highlights spread out throughout it. It's a strong 6 for me, though. I still think it's quality for Metro, but it's nothing crazy. Yeah. We got Back from the Dead by Chief Keef. That one's going to go under Monster. This one's pretty good. Yeah, I think it's just more bangers from Chief Keef. There's really nothing bad about this album. Just a lot of great songs off of here. It does get a little weak near the back end, though. I think that some of the hi-hats just sound a little in your face. They sound a little like too in your face. They're kind of repetitive, but like I said with Finally Rich, what do you really expect? It's a very good album still. It's just not as good as Finally Rich. It is like a decent to strong 8 for me. I really enjoyed it. Then we got Fornem. This one will go above Heroes and Villains in D tier. This one didn't really click with me. Some of the hooks on here get really repetitive. Some of the beats on here are also really repetitive. And in all honesty, it's not even like in a fun way. It's just kind of like, okay, I guess so. I guess this is fine. I didn't really like this one on first listen, but on re-listen it did really grow on me. It's just fine. It's solid. But there are some songs on here that I was like, okay, man, that's enough. It's quality, though. It's not bad. It's just like, meh. It is a strong 6 for me. Then we got Save Me. Save Me, I honestly kind of forgot I listened to this thing. I need to re-listen to this thing. It's going straight into S tier. I'll put it under Whole Lotta Red. Honestly, yeah, I'll put it above Whole Lotta Red. I love this album, man. Or it's an EP, but, like, I loved it. I thought it was just so beautiful. Like, the first track is just, like, hard. It's just, like, oh, my God. It's amazing. And then you just get another emotional track after emotional track. It's just so... Oh, I just love the sound of this thing. It sounds like shattered glass. Like, that's exactly what I think when I hear this album. Like, hear that first track? Tell me you don't picture, like, a shattered mirror for some reason. Like, it's just such a amazing sounding album. I keep calling it an album. It's an EP. But, like, it's just no bad songs on here. It's it's the best Future project I've heard. Honestly, it's just emotional. I love it. I really love the CP. I thank you. Just thank you whoever recommended this. I forgot their username. Oh, I know their username. I just don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, thanks for recommending this, man. This is a very good album. I really enjoyed it. It is a decent to strong 9 for me. Very, very good. We got Not All Heroes Wear Capes. Another just good Metro project. I'll put it above Barter 6. Honestly, yeah, I'll put it above. This one's just, as I said, pretty good. It suffers from the same thing that Heroes and Villains does, except it's not as bad. I will say, though, I'm super, like, infuriated by this one song. So he plays a soul sample, and I'm like, yes. Because when Metro uses a soul sample, he does it on Fuel the Fire, on Heroes and Villains, and it sounds amazing. And I'm like, yes, this is the best song on the album. He plays a soul sample, I'm getting hyped. I'm like, yo, this is about to be crazy. And then he just kind of switches to his trap production. I'm just like, why'd you play this soul sample, man? I wanted the soul sample beat, you know? It feels like such a tease, and it kind of made me mad. I'm like, no, why? Other than that, though, there aren't too many crazy highlights off here. I remember there was one song where it's like completely a cappella, and it's just Travis singing. That was actually really good. I really want more of that. Yeah, that was kind of a tease, too. It's like 1 minute, and I'm like, this is beautiful. Other than that, though, there's really nothing crazy on here. It's just good. It's another good Metro project. Going into B tier, though, we got Beautiful Thugger Girls. This one starts a little weak, but then it really picks up near the end. I feel like this sound, it kind of reminds me of Barter 6 a little, where I'm like, not consciously loving it, but I don't really hate it either. It's just like good. And then it really picks up near the end with some pretty great tracks. I like the features on here too. I like the guitar work that Thug was doing here. And yeah, it was just a pretty good album. I don't really have anything else to say. It is a light 8 for me. It was just pretty fun. This one can go in B or C. It's Culture. I'll put it at the top of C for now. Here's my problem with this album. It starts like amazing. Like if this album was like just the first half cut, it would probably be in like A tier. I'm not even joking. It's such an amazing listen. Like seriously, man, it is just banger after banger after banger. I love Migos' like energy. I just love all their energy together. It's super bouncy. I really love I just love the vibe of it. Like it's crazy because the first track is like DJ Khaled going, "We the best music." And I still really enjoyed it, you know? Like, if it was a sleepy song, I probably would have been like, oh, this is kind of corny. But the high energy and just hearing him like, "We the best," another one. And it's just so good. Like, it's just consistent banger after banger at the beginning. And then it kind of falls off near the end with some weaker tracks. Not the biggest fan of the back end. Yeah, it just kind of falls off in energy and just kind of like, okay, by the end. It starts really good, ends kind of weak. It's a pretty good album, though, still. It's a strong 7 to a light 8 for me. It could go in C or B tier, honestly. Then we got If You're Reading This is going under Beautiful Thugger Girls, honestly. Yeah, that looks right to me. This is a pretty good album, man. I really enjoyed it. I was actually really surprised. I think my biggest problem with it, though, is that Drake's kind of, like, boisterous. No, that's not the word for it. Like, yeah, it's like his very cocky voice at times can get really annoying. I'm like, dude, stop it. Okay, that's enough. But when he's not doing that, I think this album can be pretty good. I'll actually throw it in C tier. Yeah, I'll put it under Culture. I'll put it above. No, I feel like I'm being like too generous, but at the same time I'm being like too harsh. This album was just pretty consistent. There was no real bad songs off here, which I was surprised by, to be honest. It was just a pretty consistent listen. There were no real big highlights, though, to be honest. It was just a pretty, like, yep, this is a good song. Good song, good song, good song, listen, you know? Really no awful tracks off here. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I will say, though, I find it so funny that Drake has a song called You and the Six. There's something so, like, I don't know why, but when I saw that was on the track list, I literally died of laughter. I just think that's really funny. Yeah, If You're Reading This is actually a pretty good album. I'll throw it in B tier. I'll give it a light 8. It's like a strong 7 to a light 8. It could go C or B. But, yeah, it's a pretty good album, honestly. I was surprised. And we got Drop Top WAP, which is going in D tier. This is a very generic trap-sounding album. Like, this is what trap sounded like to me when I didn't really like trap music, you know? And, like, it's just kind of boring. I'm not the biggest fan of Gucci Mane's flow, dude. I just think he sounds so... I'm Gucci Mane. Like, that's what he sounds like to me. It's just so boring. I wasn't the biggest fan. I just think the production's actually really good on here. But Gucci Mane sounds so like dead. He sounds like the whole time, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. You get like someone with really high energy. You get Migos on this production, and it'd be a fire album. But like Gucci Mane, he's just pretty sleepy, man. I'm not the biggest fan of his voice. Yeah, it's just pretty meh album, pretty generic sounding. Not a big fan. It's a light 5 for me, maybe a strong 4. Wasn't great. Then we got The Wizard by Future. This one can go like, This can go above Monster, honestly. It's just an hour of bangers. There's really no bad songs on here. It's just banger, banger, banger. Future's energy is fire. I love the production on here. I think it's a pretty great album, man. Some of the hooks get a little repetitive. It's just a pretty consistently great album, though. There's no huge highlights, but it's just like banger, banger, banger. It's really good. I really enjoyed this album. Yeah, it's a strong 8 for me. Also, it's like a strong 8 to a light 9 for me as well. This and Monster can both go in A tier, honestly. I might put The Wizard in A. It's a very good album. Like, I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, it's pretty great. Then we got Almighty So by Chief Keef. This one's gonna go under Astroworld. I wish Chief Keef had more energy on here. Like, if he brought, like, I don't like levels of energy on at least half of these songs, this would be like S tier. I'm not even joking. Because the production on here is fire. He just sounds a little, like, half awake, you know? He just sounds, like, sleepy. And I'm like, dude, please wake up. You could have made a very good album if you just, like, had more energy, you know? Overall, though, it's still a very good album. It starts a little weak, I will admit, but you kind of get engulfed into its vibe by the end, and it kind of swallows you whole. Yeah, it's a very good album still. I just wish Chief Keef had more energy on the mic is all. Yeah, it is a light to decent 9. No, it's a light 9 for me. I really enjoyed this one. Then we got Love is Rage 2 by Lil Uzi. I'm going to put this in C under Barter 6. I think... Yeah, I'll put it under Barter 6. I think if there were more bangers like how there are at the beginning, like the beginning of this album was actually really good. Like, this is just like banger, banger. I'm like, yo, is this going to be really good? Like, is this going to be A tier material for me? No, it kind of falls off near the end with some weaker production, some weaker performances from Uzi. But as I said, like, those first, like, 5 tracks are really, really good. And it ends well with EXO Tour Life, obviously. But other than that, there's, like, some pretty good songs near the end, some decent songs in the middle, or, like, some decent songs in the back half, and then a very good closer. It's nothing crazy. It definitely could have been cut down, though. If it was, like, a shorter album, it could have been pretty good, actually. It's just decent, though. It's a light 7 for me. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And then after that, we got The Life of Pierre 4 by Pierre Bourne. And here's the thing. So I have a loyal sub, a friend even, you know? And they really like this album. Like this album is amazing to them. So I listened to it. I was like, okay, why not? And it starts pretty good. I like the opener. I like the second track, you know? And then it kind of gets a little boring. And the production is kind of repetitive. And Pierre really doesn't have, like, different, like, vocals. He just kind of sounds the same on every song. And while it does end with, like, 2 good songs, it's a pretty boring, pretty generic, pretty uninspired, and in all honesty, pretty, it just lacks variety for me, man. It's going in F tier. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just think, like, the reason why Pierre Bourne's production works on, like, a Cardi album is because Cardi brings, like, features on. He has other producers, you know? And he has, like, different hooks. To me, this album just sounds like the same song over and over and over and over and over again for the most part. And like I said, there are some pretty good songs on here, like at the beginning and near the end. The whole middle part, I'd say, like, most of the songs on here, besides, like, 4, are pretty much the same track. It's a pretty generic listen. I think if he brought some features on, if he brought, like, some other artists on to, like, go over his production, it actually might have been pretty good. But, yeah, it just ends up sounding the same throughout. Yeah, it definitely could have been cut down. Definitely could have been, like, an EP of just, like, 5 good songs. Yeah, it's not great, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, it just wasn't great to me. It is a This hurts. It's a light 3 for me. I'm sorry. It's just a pretty boring listen. Wasn't a fan. On a positive note, though, going above Astroworld, I'd say. It's So Much Fun by Young Thug. Honestly, I'll put Astroworld over, sorry. So Much Fun is just, it's literally the title. I feel like everyone says it. It's so much fun. It's just bangers on bangers. Amazing features, amazing performances from Thugger, amazing production. There's really no bad song on here. I like the song with Machine Gun Kelly. I don't like Machine Gun Kelly on it, but his part is literally like 10 seconds long. His part wasn't enough to like ruin the whole song. Yeah, it's a very good Thugger project. I really enjoyed it. It is a light to decent 9 for me. Pretty great album. Then we got Savage Mode 1. This one's going in C tier. I'll put it under Barter 6. I'll put it under Love is Rage 2. It was just good, man. I like the menacing vibe that like 21 Savage is trying to convey with like his really dark delivery. Yeah, I'm 21 Savage. Like that's just what he sounds like. He just sounds really like he's trying to scare you for some reason. Like he sounds like he's trying to scare you or something. Yeah, he sounds pretty cool on here. I like the production. It's just a good EP. It's like an EP, right? I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, it was just good. It wasn't anything crazy. Just a pretty good little project. Yeah, it was fine. It's like a light 7 for me. It was good. And we got another hot take, probably the hottest take in the entire video. It is DS2 going straight into D tier for me. This album was pretty boring. Future doesn't really sound awake on the mic. And the production was pretty boring as well. Just felt like an hour of pretty boring material. There were really no highlights on here. No bangers, just like pretty boring stuff, to be honest with you. Was not a fan of this one. It's like a light 5 for me. It was pretty boring, man. I really couldn't stand this album. Then we got Lil Uzi versus The World. This one's gonna go probably under Heroes and Villains. This was just a fine album. Wasn't anything crazy. Doesn't have the highs of Love is Rage 2. Uzi doesn't sound too alive on here. Oh, they always sound kind of alive. But yeah, it was just fine. It wasn't anything crazy. Just fine listen. It's like a decent 6 for me. It wasn't like bad, but it wasn't good really. Yeah, and then we got What a Time to Be Alive. This one can go like, man, like this album is just banger after banger. Like there's no bad songs on here. I like every song on here. I like the production. I like Future on here. I like Drake on here. Drake sounds really good because he sounds like he's trying to out-rap Future, you know? And it's like this rivalry, but also kind of like a friendship. Like it's like a team up, but it's also kind of a rivalry. And like the production is really good too. I'm gonna put this in A tier, man. I'm gonna throw this in A tier. I'll put it above Almighty So. I really enjoyed this album. I thought the production was fire. I love the hooks. Diamond's dancing is fire. The solo Drake and solo Future tracks are fire. It's just a really good album. I really enjoyed this one. It's like a light to decent 9 for me. I really like this one. Yeah, it's a really like good listen, surprisingly. And then we got Flockavelli, which is a classic album, man. This album's going straight into B tier, I'd say. Probably above Beautiful Thugger Girls. I thought this album was pretty good, man. Just pretty, like, I love the bangers at the beginning. I love the opener. You got an iconic song on here, like F the Club Up. That song is like, I'd say that's a classic. You got the one song on here that has the Brad taste in music, like sound. I was caught off guard by that track. It's just a pretty consistently great album, man. There are some weaker tracks on here with some features that I wasn't the biggest fan of. Overall, though, it's a pretty great album. I really enjoyed it. It's a decent 8 for me, I'd say. And then we got Trap Story. I talked about this with Drop Top Wop. I'm not a fan of Gucci Mane, man. So when you get Gucci Mane giving you a whole compilation of like a bunch of songs by different artists and him, it kind of makes for this really messy experience. Was not a fan of Gucci Mane on here. Was not a fan of, I'd say, most of the songs on here. I'm not a fan of like early trap music. I think that it's just really just like boring, pretty samey sounding. And Trap Story is honestly going to go in F tier. I'll put it under Pierre. Yeah, it wasn't great, man. It's just like an hour of just completely boring songs, people that sound half awake, pretty boring production, and just some pretty boring, like, just features in general. Yeah, it's not a great project to me, honestly. I'm giving it a light 3 as well. Wasn't a fan at all. And yeah, man, I think I got into trap music. I feel like I'm actually so glad I did this, because like just so much other music has started clicking with me since then. Certain albums like Freddie by Freddie Gibbs have really clicked with me since I started doing this. What else, man? Like Blade probably wouldn't have worked it. Like I don't think I would have clicked with Blade as much if I didn't do this video. I don't think I would have liked And Then You Pray For Me as much on re-listen if I didn't do this video. I just think it's I'm actually really glad I did this, you know? I think I really expanded my taste, and this is where the big announcement comes in. I plan on doing a tier list for Chief Keef, Young Thug, and Future, yeah. I think my only problem with Future's discography is that he has like some really weird ancient mixtapes, like freaking, what's it called? Like Dirty Sprite, I think. I think that's like a thing, and it's like a purple cover with like Sprite on it for some reason. Yeah, Future would probably be the last in those three, but I just actually started going through Young Thug's discography. I don't know when this video is going to be out. You might already see like, I think I might have posted the Topster already, where like I already have a few Young Thug albums that I didn't even include on the list, you know? Yeah, so expect those videos, not anytime soon, but those will definitely come out, you know? They're definitely on the list. But yeah, I'm glad you made it this far in the video, man. Everyone, I gotta thank everyone for the Rex, man. Thanks Duckworth, of course, because like laid out this whole list of everything. That really helped out, honestly. And yeah, thanks for everyone that gave Rex. Thanks for everyone that helped. And thank you for making it this far in the video. Hope to see you in the next one. This was a very fun one. And yeah, bye.